The American spirit and the Western spirit is all about combining something you love with something that's going to benefit other people. Today's guest is Cathy Woods, who has combined her love of yoga with her love of horses for the benefit of both. Without any further delay, let's talk to Cathy. Good morning, Russell. How are you?
I'm good. It's July in Tucson, Arizona, so it's a little bit warm, but it's also the time I try and get stuff caught up and get ahead.
Yeah, but I look around the ranch here and I see a lot of smiling faces. So that tells me that they're dealing with the heat and they're liking being here.
Yeah, no, they do okay. You know, and it's a dry heat, right?
That's what everybody tells me. But when it's 110, doesn't matter if it's dry or wet. It's hot.
Well, so anyway, today would be a good day to do yoga inside. So
absolutely.
Cathy Woods is with us. She's a longtime yoga teacher, retreat leader, horsewoman. She's taught yoga to equestrians, non-equestrians since 1991. She's been at pretty high-ranking places like Kripalu, probably massacred that, Center for Yoga and Health, Yogaville Ashram, and Mount Madonna Center, and Sea Lazy U Ranch, one of the great dude ranches in America, and White Stallion Ranch, and she's going to be back pretty soon. We'll talk about that later, but welcome, and good to have you, Cathy.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm looking forward to the conversation and certainly looking forward to being back there at White Stallion in January.
Yeah, and give those dates. We'll give them again, but Cathy Woods Yoga at White Stallion is?
That is, I should know this off the top of my head, that is January 22nd to 26th.
Okay. I should know it too. But anyway, we're looking forward to it. Worked really well last time, and it's dude ranches are the right place to have yoga on with horses.
Yeah, it was a great fit, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that as we go on. And again, looking forward to the conversation and sharing more with you guys and with your audience, kind of about what I do, what the benefits are, and happy to dive in whenever you're ready.
Well, we're ready. Cathy, you've been teaching yoga for quite a while.
Yes.
How?
Yes, so that's a little telling on my age, right?
Well,
I've actually been teaching for 33 years, and I always say it's a really good job to have because it never feels like a job. Truly, it's a practice I use in my own life in so many ways, on and off the yoga mat, so not just the postures, but the philosophy and the mindfulness of yoga I try to apply to my entire lifestyle, including my life with horses. So, I've been teaching a lot of different places from, early on, different yoga studios, community colleges, yoga centers, yoga ashrams, and then about 15 years ago kind of segued into more of an equestrian-centric audience, being able to combine my passions of yoga and horses and travel and showing people how well the mindfulness aspect of yoga can enhance their horsemanship from ground to saddle.
Well, something you just said, and I would really appreciate it if you would talk about this. You've incorporated the yoga philosophy and lifestyle into who you are, and it's something that you share with the people that come to you. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, what I call the westernized version of yoga seems to be depicted as a practice of athletics and flexibility and cute yoga clothes, and really in its origins, the practice is really what I would call an awareness practice. It's not about flexibility or athletic ability or competition. It's really a practice where we can spend time, hopefully integrated time with ourselves on the yoga mat. And then the idea is to carry that more heightened and integrated awareness with us off the mat and into our daily lives and definitely into our horsemanship.
Cathy, one of the things I love is that you combined your love of yoga with your love of horses. How did that occur to you? How did you make that happen so elegantly?
Oh, thank you for asking. Really, it was a result of my own personal experience and being a horsewoman, a horse owner. I was noticing things like what headspace and energy space I was going down to my barn and interacting with my horses in made a huge difference in how those interactions went. So in other words, if I went down to the barn and I had just done some meditation and yoga and was in a calm, relaxed space, my interactions with my horses were so much more connected and fruitful. If we were training or working on something, we would have better results. We were both more engaged. And then I was also noticing, when I'd go down to the barn and I was kind of stressed, rushed, task-oriented, or in my ego about something, those interactions would not be as favorable. And then the physical end of it, I was noticing while I was riding, things like I would notice on the yoga mat. If I got into a challenging yoga pose, I might catch myself holding my breath and remind myself to breathe deeply and fully. I would be on the trail and I would get into a challenging situation with my horse. Notice I'd start holding my breath or breathing shallow, and I was reminding myself to breathe more deeply. I was self-correcting if I was crooked in the saddle or even just the slightest bit off. I was body aware from yoga practice, and I was able to transfer that body awareness, breathing awareness, energy awareness from the mat to the saddle. So it was really just a natural, organic process. I didn't try to make that happen, and just started sharing that with some other horse owners and equestrians, and they were kind of reaffirming the validity to that, and I started doing some small local workshops with fellow trail riders, and they were affirming to me that there was definitely a value to what I was sharing and teaching. And fast forward, I put it into a more program, I guess, or curriculum, for lack of a better word, to where I can share it very, very effectively with people in everything from a little one-day clinic to a multi-day retreat. And then that also resulted in Horse and Rider Books publishing my book, Yoga for Riders. So that's, in a nutshell, sort of how that came about. It was really a result of my own practice and experience with my own horses.
Now, I know you went on to you are the creator of Body, Mind, and Equine.
Yeah.
And when someone attends one of your retreats, which I think is really what they are, I don't think it's just an educational seminar. I think it goes much further than that. What do they?
Absolutely.
What does the Body, Mind, and Equine mean to someone who attends your retreat? What are they getting out of it?
Okay. Well, Body, Mind, Equine is technically my trademarked program, and basically, in a nutshell, it teaches how to be a more mindful horse person, how to be a more mindful equestrian from ground to saddle. We focus on things like equestrian wellness, because if we're not well physically, mentally, emotionally, our horses are going to mirror that back to us. We can't expect our horses to do groundwork and to be collected when we go down to our barns or to saddle up for a trail ride and we're kind of a nervous, scattered mess. So really it's how to be more mindful and how to focus on our own wellness, which affects everybody that we're around, not just horses. I mean, we all know what it feels like to be around somebody that's centered and grounded and positive versus somebody angry and negative and tense. And we, obviously, as humans, we like the way it feels to be around someone when they are more balanced and healthy and well, and so do our equines. So it's great to see that more mindfulness being embraced in horsemanship overall. I present at a lot of equestrian expos and summits and just really seeing a big pivot in these last few years. And I like to think I was, an early pioneer and part of that pivot of becoming a more mindful equestrian. So that's sort of what Body, Mind, Equine is. It's focusing on the whole, on the unity of our bodies, our minds, our spirits, and how we also can connect and partner in a positive way with equines.
And if you show up when you're kind of in that distracted place with the horse picks that information up, doesn't it?
I think so. You guys are longtime horsemen, so, I'd be curious your take on that. I do feel like they mirror back a lot of times what we're doing. I mean, just simply, I could be on a trail ride, and I notice if I become distracted, I'm not paying attention to my horse or my footing or the trail, and I'm digging around in my saddlebag for something. That's like the moment my horse is going to stumble on a rock or pin his ears at the horse next to him or take a bite of grass on the trail. It's like he knows when I'm not present and when I'm not there. So, yeah, I do believe that. And I believe, like all sentient beings, that, we all want to be treated with kindness and respect. And, also yoga, the word yoga means unity. And in the yogic tradition, it is believed that prana, which we call prana is life force, energy, flows through all of creation, through us, through the animals, through the trees, interconnecting us. So it's a nice practice of practicing more unity consciousness in a world that seems so separate at times.
Well, and, reading some of the stuff you've written and talk about what you do, it talks about helping people accept themselves where they are and work from that place, and in your words, with compassion, love, and gentleness. Easier said than done in 2024. How do you make that happen?
Yeah, I agree. The first role for me as a retreat leader is to create a safe and supportive container for the guests that are coming to these retreats. And as you said before, they are more than just a clinic. They're not riding lessons per se. They're really more of a retreat for our whole person, and to give us a chance to reconnect with quietness and stillness, and reconnect with ourselves and with our horses and with other retreat goers and with the world around us in a more deep and aware and mindful way. So yeah, part of that is me at the onset really creating a space at the retreat where people feel like they can show up, be themselves, show up in their full authenticity, whatever that looks like, whether their yoga looks like chair yoga or their horsemanship looks simply like grooming a horse. I really try to make these programs accessible to everyone and make everybody feel comfortable where they are, who they are, and again, give them that quiet time through guided meditation and through yoga to really take care of themselves. And sometimes it can be emotional for some of the guests too, because, we're on this fast-paced treadmill of life, and when people slow down and get quiet and introspective, sometimes emotional stuff, does bubble up, and, we're there as a group to support, everybody that's there. Part of this is also about women's empowerment and women supporting women, and just taking that me time that we don't often do. So I call it the magic of retreat. It's really nothing I'm doing per se. It's just creating this space and being a guide to guide people into a more relaxed, conscious state where they can, access inner peace and self-love and compassion.
Well, I can tell you both Russell and I have daughters, and having empowered daughters is a big deal, I think, for both of us. And it's just what you're producing and what you're helping people with is really pretty remarkable. But, as I go through some of your literature online and some of the pictures that you've posted, it's pretty clear that fun is also a really important part of what you're doing.
Yes. Absolutely. We don't have enough fun in our lives. We take everything so seriously. And to quote one of my favorite yogis, favorite teachers, Swami Satchitananda, he says, play, 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 work. Play, 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 work. Play, 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 work. So play is, a big focus. And we want to have fun at retreats. We want to, boost our mood, boost our immune system, feel like we're being enriching our lives, having these fun, kind of light, safe adventure experiences to go on and share that with other retreat goers. And, I think it's just something we all could use a little bit more of. And sometimes that's what comes up for people. I've had women on retreat say, I didn't realize how badly I needed to rest or reset, or how much I needed some adventure in my life, or some play in my life, or camaraderie of a group. So, fun is a big part of what we do. These are not intensive programs by no means, so we definitely interweave the fun factor.
Well, we had on a podcast, 2 or 3 podcasts ago, we had an equine geneticist on, and one of the things that they talked about horses' propensity to play or be vigilant, and how that falls down within the genetics. And that's kind of what you're talking about here.
Interesting, very interesting. And, it's not just play for us, but it's also play for the animals, and to partner with them in a different way. I think it's enriching for them. I mean, I have senior horse now. My other senior horse recently passed away, but I have one senior who's 30 years old, and we can't trail ride anymore. He's pretty arthritic, and we try now to partner in a different way. Maybe that means just taking a walk down to the lake and splashing around, or doing just some little fun ground exercises with him. And I think it's enriching for the horses too, and it gives us another way to partner with horses. I think for so many years of in horsemanship, the focus was on riding, and now I think the focus is on partnership and healthy leadership and enrichment for the human and the animal.
Interesting.
Well, we're kind of push the edge of the envelope for our first segment, and we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Thank you, Russell. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Cathy. As I oftentimes say, you'll learn more here by accident than most places by design. I'm Stan. They call me the Radio Man. I'm the founder and leader of the Cowboy Spirit Radio Network, and it was my idea to talk to a Russell True, who had quite a legend and was quite a horseman and quite the dude ranch guy. And I convinced him that maybe he should try to become a radio man. He didn't want to do that, but now he's very, very glad that he has friends all over the world, because the Cowboy Up podcast not only brings fun and entertainment, but it brings good news, goodwill, and a good tidings to people all around the world. It's a good deal for everybody. And we thank you for being a part of our Cowboy Up podcast community. We are grateful when you recommend us to others. And so what we'd like to say is, please, if you know somebody who would actually be a good person to have on the program, we would love to hear from you. The Cowboy Up Podcast at gmail.com. The Cowboy Up Podcast at gmail.com. And, I bet some of you would say, maybe I'd like to be on a program. Maybe I would like to have my own program. Well, that's the business we're in. And on behalf of Russell and the team, I'd like to tell you that if you'd like to have us give you a shout out, your business, your service, there are thousands of people all over the world that perhaps could use the good stuff, the good services, and the good quality people that you have in your company and your organization. So if we can help you reach those people, we'd be glad to do that. Just write to me at Stan Houston, StanHustad at gmail.com, and we'll get you on the radio. And now, back to the good words.
Okay, yoga, from listening to you, it's really all about connection. So that being the case, do any of the people that attend your workshop stay attended after they leave the workshop? Do they stay connected?
They do. And certainly not everybody. You have a lot of different personality types, and some people are more geared toward that. But absolutely, we have women sharing. Everybody usually wants to share everybody's email and contact info by the end of the retreat, because you have built this camaraderie in the group throughout the retreat, through fun, through laughter, through sometimes, emotional stuff that comes up with people and people feel inclined to share. So there's definitely a lot of heart connecting going on. I try to facilitate heartfelt, meaningful conversations. So I do find a lot of the people make new friends. They meet up again maybe the next year at retreat. And then other things that I've found interesting too is some of the people stay connected in different ways, maybe not necessarily coming to the retreat, but they'll jump on my next webinar. And, because I do talk at the end of the retreat about the importance of staying plugged into wellness, because you cannot be on this big high when you come off retreat and you're going to go home and you're going to put all these things into practice, and then in about a week or so life happens and those things kind of wane. So I do emphasize the importance of staying plugged in, whether that means continuing coming to retreats or attending an equine expo or a lecture or attending one of my webinars, so we can stay connected in a lot of different ways. And something else that has happened numerous times is some people do go home from these retreats and they decide they're going to start taking lessons, or they're going to buy or lease a horse. I've had numerous women message me back, months later and say, hey, here's a picture of the horse I'm leasing, or, here's what I've been doing at my lessons. So, yeah, there definitely is a connection factor, and I think what that looks like for each person kind of can vary.
Well, that's, of course, we think that's dude ranching. We have groups of people that have met here, and they're from all over and different walks of life and different this and that, and then, they all make sure that they're all here at the same time, and even I just heard about 3 women that met here, and they're at a dude ranch called 1,000 Acres in New York right now.
Yeah.
Riding together in New York. So, I mean,
I love that.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah. I did my Colorado retreat a few years ago, and then the following year I offered an Iceland retreat, and I would say 75% of the women from that Colorado retreat all jumped on board for the Iceland retreat, so it was kind of like a big reunion for them when they got there. So yeah, it's fun to meet new people and make those connections and find commonalities. And as you say, so many different walks of life, come to these programs, and we just find that common denominator through horses, through, wanting to take care of ourselves and wellness. So it's a great way to connect.
And your retreats are kind of like dude ranching, right? All levels of horsemanship, horse experience are welcome.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Absolutely. Yeah, I like to make these user-friendly programs. Again, these are not intensive yoga retreats. They're not intensive riding or training retreats. So everyone is welcome regardless of their level of yoga or experience of yoga or horsemanship. And I know at your ranch and most of the ranches I've worked with, you guys have horses for every level. So the program I do really builds on itself kind of incrementally, usually in the arena first with horses and then on the trail. So, people who may come and say, I really don't think I'm going to do much riding, haven't done a lot of riding before. Usually by the end of the first arena session, they're feeling really confident about going out on the trail. You've paired them with good horses, and my program has helped them to build confidence. And again, the yoga, I tell everybody you work from where you are. That's the only realistic place to work from. If you can't touch your toes, you touch your knees. If you need a chair to do chair yoga, that's perfectly fine. So I really like to make yoga and horsemanship accessible to everyone, regardless of what that looks like. And that is certainly one of my missions of Cathy Woods Yoga, Body, Mind, Equine.
Well, and I've been around horses my whole life, and I on my resume that I don't have, I would not put a horse trainer. Broke horses, right. Trained horses to rope, trained horses to pull wagons, but I'm not a horse trainer. But I've been around a lot of serious horse trainers, Frank Bell, Jim Ray, Anna Twinney, I can't think of her first name suddenly, Goodnight. I mean, we've had them here, yeah. We've been around them. Yes. Yeah. And everything that you said about applying the yoga principles to the interaction with the horse, while they might not be yoga masters in applying yoga, they're applying the same basic theories. And one of Frank Bell's things, and Jim Ray, who work together, they say, and Anna Twinney says this, if they go in and it's the bad, the interaction isn't going well, meaning a horse and rider, it's the day to walk away and go bake bread. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And that, or whatever it is you like to do, play golf or do.
Yeah.
But, so your principles are right on target where you come at it from the yoga side to the horses. These really serious horse trainers, natural horsemanship folks, they would agree with everything you say. And I've been around a lot of the folks who know. So it's such a good match for our people who, as we just talked about, have this broad spectrum of experience. Maybe they just petted some horses at the farm where they went one day, or they're experienced horse riders and they understand the importance because horses reflect us, and so they understand that, and yoga is a great tool to use. Let's talk about your retreat.
If you don't mind, I'd like to speak on that for just a minute. Anna Twinney is kind of here in my neck of the woods in North Carolina. Julie Goodnight has given me, one of the best endorsements and reviews ever after reading my book, Yoga for Riders. And in my book, I say exactly that. I say these people that we call adept horse whisperers, they're yogis. They don't call themselves that, but they're doing the same thing as a yogi. Through their training, they're aware of energy and body language and subtleties and how all that affects the relationship with the horse and training. So, definitely we're all kind of speaking the same language, just in different terms. And I always say I'm not a horse trainer, I'm not a riding instructor, but I'm here to give people a more, mindful approach to horsemanship. So, I think we're all on the same page, and, we just use different languages. And even what you said about stay behind and bake bread, I kind of chuckled at that because I talk about that in my book as well, that, sometimes we just have to honor our own energy. There have been times I'm getting ready to go on a big couple-day pack trip or trail ride, and I'm just not feeling it. I wake up that day, I'm kind of feeling edgy or nervous or something, and I'll call my buddies and say, I'm going to pass on the ride today. I'm just going to stay behind and groom my horse, or just go on a little hour ride from the house or something. I think it's so important to honor that. But interesting that you recognize that as well, being a long time horseman, that we're all kind of saying the same thing, just sort of different languages.
I wanted to bring up something else about connection that I get to witness here personally. When I happen to catch Russell when he is putting shoes on a horse, he walks me through what he sees verbally, and it's really interesting because the only connection that a horse has with the ground, obviously, are the horse's feet. And he explains to me the little nuances that go on there. And I don't think if you asked him, he would tell you that he's a professional, farrier, I believe is the name?
Farrier.
It's
Farrier. I don't think you'd call yourself a professional farrier, but I listened to what he's talking about and how he sees this, and it's all about connection. And I think that's fantastic. And I think that's what you're talking about.
Well, nobody pays me. So I guess I'm not. I think if there's one thing I do in this sort of ranching world, and we talked to Jeremy a while ago, the wrangler, and he talked about when he's out at the res, you've got to be able to weld, fix this, do mechanics, string fence. He went through the whole list. Ranchers are like that, and I think of the skills that I've learned and been fortunate to learn, horseshoeing is kind of top of the list, and it's just something I've really enjoyed. You're going to be here in January 22 through 26, 4 nights retreat.
That's right.
I think we still got a few spots. Let's talk about the retreat.
Yeah, so first off, if someone's still on the fence about, is this for me? Should I come? Should I not come? I want to just reassure people again that this is user-friendly for anybody and everybody. And not only is it the Body, Mind, Equine, but the program title, the retreat title there is Embrace Your Cowgirl Spirit. And I interweave that element into the retreat very much about what does it mean to embody the attributes of a cowgirl and how we can harness those attributes and bring them into our daily lives, about resourcefulness. You were just talking about the reservation and having to be resourceful. And, to me, that's part of cowgirl spirit, too, is being resourceful, being authentic, being strong yet soft, and being compassionate. And so that's also interwoven into the theme of the retreat. But they're fun, they're learning experiences, they're light adventure, they're women's empowerment, and women go home with new life skills, yoga skills, horse skills, and really feeling recharged and empowered. So, if anybody's on the fence about that, these retreats really exceed people's expectations. That's been my experience on the evaluation forms and talking to the guests. And one of the intentions I said at the onset is to drop your intentions at the door. Don't even bring them into retreat with you. Come in with an open mind, not what am I going to get out of this, or how's it going to be, or how am I going to do, and just let go of all that and just show up and see what naturally unfolds, because a lot of times that exceeds any expectations that we could have come in there with. And then as far as about the actual retreat in January, so last year there at White Stallion, we did a 3-night retreat, and such a lovely ranch, lovely horses, and you all offer so many great amenities. The big feedback on the eval forms was everything was excellent except add another day. So we did this year. We're doing a 4-night retreat there, so we'll be able to include some other elements and some other ranch activities, which is great. Really excited about that, looking forward to that. And we used all your amenities, by the way. We really enjoyed the spa there and the hot tub, and we got on board with the cattle sorting, and that was a really fun thing for our group. And we used your little movie theater. We had brought in a Canadian cowgirl, Lori Duff, to talk to us about cowgirl spirit. So the ranch there is just truly, I think, a perfect fit. It checks all the boxes for a retreat like this.
I love hearing that people still use our movie theater.
I love the movie theater. I had to figure out a way to use the movie theater. I'm like, this is so cute. What can I do with that? So yeah, and the ladies really enjoyed it, bringing in, somebody else that they could hear and not just have me as retreat leader, but to get some other cowgirl wisdom, which was a lot of fun.
We've had some pretty incredible things filmed here at White Stallion, so it's just nice to keep that alive.
Well, speaking of filming, interesting coincidence or not coincidence, because I'm not sure I believe things are just coincidences. When I was a kid, this had to be in the 60s, my favorite show in the world was High Chaparral. And I had no idea where it was filmed. I just loved the show. I just loved everything about it, the horses, the cowboys, the culture. And fast forward years later, when I was seeking different dude ranches to offer this program, I had contacted Carol there at White Stallion quite a few years ago, maybe 8-10 years ago, and it just wasn't the right fit for both of us at the time. And I had no idea that was where High Chaparral was filmed. So call it destiny that, I ended up there and working with you all, or call it manifestation. But I think it's an interesting coincidence that my favorite all-time show was filmed at a ranch that I'm now affiliated with. So I love that.
Yeah, the show ran 68 to 72. And so and it was produced by David Dortort, who was very famous at the time because he did Bonanza. And they did the press party that launched the show here at the ranch in 1968 out on our main patio, and all the stars were here. And I was 8 years old, so, my parents, my brother was too small to, and too ill-behaved, really, but that's a separate story. But so they didn't bring him down. So I was in most of the pictures with the stars that were in that great show, and I liked it too very much. My two favorite westerns were that and Big Valley, and it just was a terrific show. What I learned very early on was filming is duller than dirt, because to be efficient, they film these things out of sequence. They might be shooting 3 or 4 episodes at the same time or in the same location. And I don't know how these actors do it. And so all our friends would come out. It's mostly in the summer. So A, it was hot, and B, it was just so dull. And there's so much setup and, a little bit of acting and a little bit. So anyway, I grew up around it. It was really fun for a lot of other reasons. But so let's finish up the because we're over time as usual, and Lynn will yell at us. January 22nd through 26th, White Stallion Ranch, Cathy Woods Yoga, and your book again is still out there.
Oh, absolutely. It's Yoga for Riders. It's on my website, which is CathyWoodsYoga.com. So that's on there, along with other products that I offer. I have an audio series for equestrians. I have online courses. But yeah, that's all on the website. And the retreat there at White Stallion is Embrace Your Cowgirl Spirit Through Body, Mind, Equine. So, that'll be in January, and super excited to be there again. And I know we've already had people signing up and excited about it and showing interest, so I have no doubt it's going to be another wonderful event.
Thanks. And that's Cathy with a C, Woods.com, and you can get the book and learn about it.
It's actually Cathy Woods, it's CathyWoodsYoga.com.
Oh, I skipped yoga. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and the book is available. My publisher is Horse and Rider Books. They're actually the leading publisher of Equestrian Reads. So basically my site will direct you to their site. But yeah, go on my site, CathyWoodsYoga.com, and learn all about, what I offer, more about the book, and more about this retreat and other programs that I offer as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cathy, thank you so much for taking the time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on. I enjoyed the conversation and look forward to seeing you all. It'll be here before we know it.
Yes.
January will.
It sure will.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you once again for being a part of our program. We appreciate you, and thank you for what you do for us, because you are the reason we invite you to the White Stallion Ranch. That's right. This program comes from not a radio studio, but from a real ranch, the White Stallion Ranch in Tucson, Arizona, which is a part of the True Ranch Connection. And so we would encourage you to make plans to come and be here and be live and enjoy a real cowboy experience. We oftentimes say with a smile, you'll be able to encourage, maybe even discover and enjoy your inner cowboy. It's not a sport, riding a horse. It's not a game. It's an adventure, and this is a place for adventures. And if perhaps it's a little warm for you right now here in Tucson, our good friends at White Stallion have connections. And if you want a place that's a little bit cooler for this summer and fall, there are places in the connection that they might be able to make that happen for you. And then, of course, in less warm, hot climes, you might want to come back to the White Stallion. So look us up, whitestallion.com, whitestallion.com, and they'll help you find the place that's just right for you. My name is Stan Houston. I'm the radio man, and I do want to wish you all the best in these times. We want that this will be a kind of place that you say, it's good to know there's common sense, there's sanity, there's good times, and there's often good news. And thank you for being a part of our adventure together. So all the best and blessings to you. Till next time, bye for now.